see what are the top 20 causes of death in the world? The top 20 causes of death in the world are: high blood pressure is the #1 cause. The world loses so many people because of high blood pressure. Maximum number of death people die in 1 year due to high blood pressure. Second is due to tobacco smoking, and third is household air pollution from solid fuels. But can you imagine here? Diet low in fruits is the 4th leading cause of death in the world. 4th leading cause of death in the world. We are eating less fruits. And high blood sugar, high fasting blood sugar is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th most common cause of death in the world is diabetes. This is from Lancet, right? And what has happened here? So death attributable risk factors as per death attributable to risk factors and risk factors clusters worldwide. Diet high in sugar sweetened beverages kills around 29 lakh people. 29 lakh 9,000 people every year. 110, 100,000, 10,000 lakh. 29 lakh people die because of eating Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Diet high in processed meat causes 84 lakh people to die. Diet low in whole grains causes 1,72 lakh people to die every year. Diet low in vegetables causes again high number of deaths and high blood pressure is also there. Diet low in fruits also causes so many deaths. 4,90 lakh people die because of diet low in fruits. Now, model of lifestyle disease. There are 4 types of lifestyle disease which are prevalent in the world. Hypertension and the heart disease is one of the leading killers in the world. Cancer, cancer is again the 2nd most common cause of death in the world. Diabetes is causing so many people to die, and autoimmune problems are the 4th lifestyle disease which we can tackle simply with diet. How to heal the human body? Remember, human body is like a car. Human body is like a car. If you bring a car, it can have 2 to 3 types of problems. Either some of the nut bolt gets cracked, like maybe brake is not working, or mirror is not working, or some steering is not working, and you go to the mechanic to repair that thing. In the same way, human body is a imported Mercedes car made by God. It can also have some of its nut bolt get loosened up, like maybe headache or eye pain or some disc prolapse. And at that time, what you need to do is you need to go to a doctor, maybe it may be allopathic doctor, it may be homeopathic doctor, it may be some sujok specialist, acupuncture specialist, or homeopathy specialist. And what they will do the job of the mechanic. They will tighten up that screw with some maybe sujok or maybe some acupuncture or some medicine. But it is still how many times you go to a doctor? You go to a doctor maybe once in a month, and for the car, some nut bolt gets loosened up maybe once in 3 months. So you go to the mechanics very rarely. But what happens? The car should go for servicing every 3 months, right? If car is not going to the service station properly, it will not. The car will not run smoothly. So in the same way, human body also has got a lot of joints and which need to be serviced daily in the form of maybe some walk, it needs service daily. So maybe some walk, some tai chi, some yoga, twist therapy. It will like tighten up, service the joints, and the joints will work very nicely, right? So you need to, because it is an imported car. So what we need to do is we need to do this daily, right? And then in your car you need to put petrol. You need to put petrol, which has to be, which if it is high premium quality petrol, will give a very good mileage of the car. If you are putting 80, 100 rupees or costly petrol, what will happen after 10 years? The mileage of your car is still very good, still very good. And in the same way, human body is a car, and what the food you are putting into your body, the food which you are putting into your body is like premium quality food, then maybe you after your age is 80 years, still you will be healthy, wealthy, and you may live longer compared to other people. But it has to be a very good quality food. And because a human body is a spiritual car also, it has some metaphysical component within it. So what happens, you need a spiritual petrol called a smile, to be smiling and calm and quite peaceful in all the situations of the life, no matter what happens. If you have this spiritual petrol, which is required not maybe once a day or thrice a day, like food you eat only thrice a day, but to be peaceful, to be calm, to be smiling is required in every situation of the life, in every second. If you are doing this, your mileage will be very good. You will be disease free. This is how to heal the human body. Model of different types of food. So out of this, why I am coming to food first, because see, we can heal. This is the complete. You bring me any disease. You bring me any disease. Through these 4 components of trioresin, we can cure anything if done properly. See, this is a limited consciousness. If you are a very good allopathic doctor, if you are a very good Sojok practitioner, you are a very good acupuncture specialist, you cannot, means it is a limited consciousness. You need to look everywhere. You should be very good in motions, very good in food, and very strong in meditation. If all these 4 parts are taken properly, any disease can be cured. Any disease can be cured. Model of different types of food. In trioresin models, the food coming from the zero world is very important. The food extorted from the other species with killing spirit, we should avoid these types of food. The food artificially made with the spirit of earning profit, like multinational companies producing the packed food, we should try to avoid it. And the foods growing naturally under God's spirit, that is in the natural state, you should eat these 2 things. Means you should be taking food coming from the zero world and the food growing naturally under God's spirit, right? These 2 foods you should be taking. What are these 4 types of food? The food which comes from the God, directly from the sun, is the vitamin D of sunlight. Animal food like meat, eggs, fish, and dairy products are those foods which are taken from the animals with the killing spirit. These foods should not be taken because they create trouble for the animals. And all industrial, refined, processed, and preserved food, which is made with the profit, with the earning profit spirit, with the spirit of earning profit, these foods should be avoided. And the vegetable, lentils, beans, fruits, and cereals which grow naturally in the nature, raw or mildly cooked, should be taken more and more. So you should concentrate here on these 2 things, right? But this is also called as the trioresin food consciousness, the WFPB, the whole food plant-based diet. So 65 million people in India have diabetes, and India is going to become the capital of diabetes. But in 2030, we may have 101.2 million people who will be suffering from diabetes. India is right now the 2nd largest country with diabetic cases. Every person who lives in the cities who is a diabetic spends around 10,000 rupees per month on his diabetic associated troubles and medicines. And in the rural areas, villages, average diabetic spends around 6,250 per year for his diabetes. This is per year, 6,250 rupees per year, right? In cities, average person spends 10,000 rupees per year on diabetic medications. Annual cost of diabetes in India is around, India loses 34,650 crore rupees per year because of diabetes. Age-wise, 50% of the middle-aged population, 50% of the middle-aged population has diabetes. Means the people who are from 40 to 55, if you count, bring 100 people, 50 will be diabetic. And gender-wise, more diabetes is in the males compared to the females, and all these diabetic patients suffer. Means if 60% of the diabetes have eye problem, 40% of the diabetics have skin infections, 45% of the diabetics have heart problems, and the 35% of the diabetes have kidney problems. 90% of the diabetes cases in India are due to changes in the lifestyle, obesity, and I don't agree with this, family history, mainly because of change in lifestyle and obesity. These are the two causes of diabetes. Homeostasis of the sugar. Sugar means it is, diabetes is like maybe, what is homeostasis? Homeostasis means it's the equilibrium in the body, and air-filled tire, you see this is an air-filled tire, and it can have air pressure between 60 to 150 normally, which is the sugar level of the body, between 60 milligram per deciliter to 150 milligram per deciliter. This is the safe drive of the body. If the air in this tire is between these two parameters, you are safe. But less than 60, if your sugar goes down below 60, this part, your body will puncture, and if it is more than 150, it will burst. It may burst any time, because you will have, you are going to suffer more from heart disease, from diabetes, or like kidney failure, strokes. So this is what is sugar simply. If you are below 60, you are in danger, and you are more than 150, again, you are in danger. This is what is the homeostasis of the sugar. Now, what is a healthy person eats glucose, like food he eats, and in response to that, the pancreas produces insulin, and this insulin is here, right? Okay. So person is eating glucose and body is producing insulin. So what is happening because of the insulin? This glucose is going into our body tissues like muscles and the liver because of this insulin. So the net result is we have very less blood sugar in our blood. This is the normal level of glucose in the blood. What happens in type 1 diabetes is person is eating food nicely, but there is no insulin. Pancreas has been destroyed. What is happening because of that is the insulin is not there, and now what is happening is the insulin is not there, so this glucose cannot enter into the tissues. The result is the sugar levels are high, right? The sugar levels are high because of that. So what you have to do is type 1 diabetes is the result, right? So this is how the type 1 diabetes develops. In insulin resistance of type 2 diabetes, what is happening is you are taking glucose, and body is producing a lot of insulin also. Body is producing a lot of insulin, and the glucose is there inside. Glucose is going, insulin is going. Then what is the hell is the problem? Even then there is some problem that this glucose cannot enter into the tissues. But insulin is there. Then where is the problem? It is called as insulin resistance in type 2 diabetes. Body is producing insulin, there's enough glucose inside, but even then, glucose is not going into the tissues, right? So this is a problem. So this is called as type 2 diabetes. But what has changed? In 1915, there were no patient with diabetes. And in 2018, there are so many people with diabetes. What has changed in our body? Our body receptors have changed. Our body membranes have changed. Our organs have changed. Liver has changed. Muscles have changed. Insulin has changed. What has changed? Bloody hell. Our livers are same. Our organs are same. Our body membranes are same. But why are we developing diabetes? What has changed in us? Nothing has changed in our bodies. But food has changed. The food we were eating before has changed now. Today we eat more of industrial food, and before what we were eating was what before we were eating was natural food. Now look at this. This is a patient of some tuberculosis or some kind of cancer, and this is a diabetic patient. The type 2 diabetes patient looks so beautiful. There is no why, because if you are ill, see, if you are suffering from some malaria, from some cancer or some kind of dengue shock syndrome or some typhoid fever, you will look like this. You will have very dark circles in your face and you will become thin. You will not have any appetite. But if you look at the diabetic patient, if they don't tell you that I have diabetes, you can't say they are ill. Why? Because actually there is no illness inside their body. A diabetic patient, especially type 2 diabetes, who is ill? Ill is not the body, it is the food which is ill, right? So let's discuss the issue of food, the ahara vyavahara, right? Food metabolism. Now look at this picture. It is a postal system of the human body. Suppose all of you people write a post to Dr. Paawan Wadhawan, MBBS, MD Medicine, Ravindra Hospital, Panipat, Haryana. The post will come to Paawan. But suppose if you write a letter to Dr. Paawan Panipat, the post may not come to me. It may keep revolving in the Panipat here, this house, here and there, but it may not come to Paawan. So what will happen? This is how the postal system of the human body works. These are the fresh fruits and raw vegetables, and these have enzymes in that. These live enzymes are made by God, and they have a genetic code that if you take this food, it has to reach a particular place. This genetic code is written on, means address written on this food is very proper, made by God. But why? How is this address proper? Let's look at it. This diagram. Okay, so if you look at this diagram, this is the microscopic section from a spinach. Spinach contains calcium, and this is the natural calcium which is present in the spinach, right? And you can see this calcium is live. It is live. It's made. These are enzymes which have calcium within them, and this is very, very live. So what happens is if you eat this spinach, this calcium in the spinach has got a potential that it has a genetic code that it should go. It is made by God that it should go into the bones and make your bones healthy. So what happens? What happens is, this is the difference between the banana and the banana chips. Here, the genetic code of the calcium of banana is very clear that you have to go into the bones. But if you fry this banana, the genetic code, the natural enzymes are destroyed. If they are destroyed, means they cannot go into the body, right? Into the bones, they cannot go. So what happens is, exact code written on the, if you take calcium tablets, there is no genetic code, there is no live enzyme, so this calcium will not go into the bones. But if you eat this spinach, this calcium will go into your bones. So what happens if you take a lot of calcium tablets is, like, this calcium may not go into your bones. It may, like a mad buffalo, it may go into, it may keep revolving in your blood like this, round. It will sit in your gallbladder, where you will develop gallbladder stones. It may sit into your kidney, where you will develop kidney stones. It may sit into your heart, and you may develop calcified walls, or you may develop heart attacks when your coronary arteries are blocked. But it will not go into your bones, and your bones will be unhealthy. The people who take a lot of calcium tablets, their bones are most unhealthy, right? So in our newspaper of local, the area where I live is the Panipat, and here in 2016, Dainik Bhaskar, which is a leading newspaper, published a big report that Haryana में ज़्यादा दूध और अंधाधुंध कैल्शियम खाने से हो रही है पथरी, बढ़ रहा है stone belt का दायरा. Means they were saying is The people are taking a lot of milk and calcium tablets, and in them the rate of stone formation is very high. So this was how if you're not eating the natural foods, you will develop more and more disease, right? So about our human body, the thing from where food is absorbed is the enteric plexus and like enteric system, like of intestines. And these days they call it this enteric system as the second brain. Like one brain we have here, and there's one more brain here. It is called as the enteric nervous system as a separate entity. What happens is this our intestines contains a lot of hormones and a lot of bacteria. Like there are so many bacteria in our intestines, and hormone called as incretin is there in our intestines. So when the food we ate, these hormones and the bacteria, they communicate with the natural food. If you're eating a natural food, it contains enzymes, like some people are there in the food, and your gut also contains some people. There are some people who are in your gut. So what happens, you are sending people, live people in natural food, and there are people inside. So they people kind of interact with each other, and they are very friendly to each other. They know each other since long ages, like from long last thousands of years. They know each other because our ancestors have seen like natural cucumbers, natural rice, natural radish, cabbage. These are all natural, and we recognize. So these people go inside from our mouth when we take fresh vegetables and fruits, and they interact with the intestinal bacteria, and they see inside the sugar levels. And if suppose your sugar levels are high, the natural food people will not go inside the body, but they will rather go down and come out of the excreta. But if suppose you are not eating a natural food, so it is like this is what is the natural food. They are disciplined and intelligent people. Like if your sugar levels are high, cholesterol is high, the disciplined and intelligent people will not go and cross the red light, but they will get a red light signal, and they will not go inside the body. Rather, they will go downwards from excreta out of the body. But if you're eating an unnatural, preserved, packed food, it will not go inside the body. It will not listen to anybody. It will not listen to any red light signal. What will happen? It will directly go into the body. It will not go into the it will not listen to any red light signal, right? So they have only one way. Like VIP people, they will go inside the body no matter how much your high sugar is. If you're eating packed banana, your sugars will rather go up. But on contrary to the belief, diabetic patients of mine, when they eat banana, their sugar levels go down, contrary to the belief that banana raises the sugars. No, it contains natural enzymes, and if you are eating empty stomach bananas, it rather decreases your sugar levels, because these people are not friendly. So they don't have live enzymes. So like if we talk about the jaggery, this is the refined sugar, and this is the jaggery. If you look at the microscopic section of the jaggery, it contains some receptors in the form of minerals like magnesium, chromium, zinc. And these live minerals they interact with this microflora, and they decide, these two people interact with each other and decide whether the sugar, this jaggery should go into the body or not. But if you're eating only a sugar, this has no this thing, the receptors don't know. So incretins, hormones, and the gut flora will not recognize this sugar, and this sugar has only one way to go. This is the VIP. She will always, no matter how much high sugar level is, it will go into your body, right? Into your body, and it will raise your sugar level. That's why in the International Medical Journal, a report came that jaggery is actually cytoprotective and antioxidant. Can you imagine? Jaggery good jo hai, it is cytoprotective as well as antioxidant. Why? Because it contains chromium, manganese, cobalt, zinc, and magnesium as their receptors, which is not there in the high refined sugar, right? So what happens is model of different types of food. So I discussed the food metabolism. So you are clear that food which you should eat, should be natural. If you're eating a natural food, it will go, it may not raise your blood sugar levels. But if you are eating an artificial packed food, it will always and always raise your sugar levels. I think I'm very clear. See, the question and answers, don't worry, you keep posting your questions on the Facebook, but they will be answered in the they will be answered at the end of the seminar. All the questions will be answered. Please keep posting your things, and because we have to proceed, this is a very, very, very big seminar, and you should be all become master of diabetes after this seminar. What happens now? We have these 4 types of food, and let's come with this thing, the food which is taken from other species with killing spirit, that is milk and the non-veg. The first issue which has to be solved of the milk and the diabetes. In 1992, New England Journal of Medicine, they posted a article which is the bovine albumin, that is cow's albumin peptide, as a possible trigger of insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus. They proved in this study that cow's milk causes type 1 diabetes. And you know, New England Journal of Medicine, this is not me saying, you can, this is, I think, July 30, 1992, this New England Journal of Medicine, they proved in this study that cow's milk causes type 1 diabetes, and all of us take a lot of cow's milk. So type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes, the biggest mistake what we do is to take milk. So if you stop all the milk products for 1 week, you will be amazed to see that your type 2 diabetes will be cured within 1 week, and your sugar levels will go down if you have type 1 diabetes. This is the proceedings from the Nutritional Society, proceedings of Nutritional Society 2000, that cow's milk and immune-mediated diabetes. Cow's milk and the immune-mediated diabetes, they also proved that cow's milk causes diabetes. Nelson's textbook of pediatrics, one of the Bible of the pediatrician, also says that early introduction of cow's milk is the sole cause for development of type 1 diabetes. There are 4 landmark trials which have proved that there is a linkage between milk intake and type 1 diabetes. These 4 popular trials are New England Journal of Medicine, which I just talked about to you. In the USA, one more study was conducted by American Academy of Pediatrics in 1994, which also proves that milk causes type 1 diabetes. And in the Finland, Diabetes Journal did a study and proved that type 1 diabetes happens due to high milk intake. And in 2005, the China study also proved that type 1 diabetes is due to milk intake. Cow's milk and the buffalo's milk causes it. Why? Because if you see this thing, in your Trojan principle, I don't want you people to take this food. Which is this food? Milk, non-veg, fish, and eggs. How this causes diabetes, I'm not going to prove in front of you. So Finland, which has the highest milk consumption, also has world's highest per capita rate of insulin-dependent type 1 diabetes, because in Finland people drink a lot of milk. So type 1 diabetes cases has the highest number in Finland. This is also a fact given by Diabetes Care Journal 1999. How milk causes type 1 diabetes? See, protein from the cow's milk is casein. Its amino acid sequence is what? Its amino acid sequence is its amino acid sequence is its amino acid sequence is 17. Oh, sorry, it's not working well. 17, right? So amino acid sequence is 17 number, and because of that, what happens is amino acid sequence is 17, and same is this amino acid sequence of 17 number tertiary structure. This is the for casein as well as for beta cells also. Beta cells also have an amino acid sequence which is 17. So what happens when you daily take milk? Your body digests this milk. And after some time, the body gets confused that it thinks that beta cells of the pancreas are also milk, and it starts digesting our own beta cells of pancreas. And slowly, when these 17 number cells are destroyed, beta cells are destroyed fully, we develop type 1 diabetes. This is how the immunity, like protein from cow's milk, casein, immunity confuses the casein with the beta cells, immunity attacks the beta cells, and we develop autoimmune disease called as type 1 diabetes. So what happens? Let's discuss now. So, so what happens actually in this is how type 1 diabetes develops. So I just would like to show you one video. So what happens is milk, you develop so many problems with the milk, but I will not go into the details. I will just stick to the type of diabetes and the milk link. In your Amul and Mother Dairy and all big milk companies, what happens is they have a lot of cows and buffaloes, and they don't have the time to take milk out of them. So what they do is they have a vacuum machines. These vacuum machines, when they are put and tightened into the tits of the cow, they draw 40 liters of milk in maybe 20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And when these screws which were tightened, when they loosen these screws, what happens is these tits of the cow start bleeding, and these people don't have time. In the evening again they tighten those screws into the tits and again withdraw the milk. So with continuous screw use with the tits, these tits become wounded and there's a pus discharge from these wounds. So what happens is because a lot of pus discharge is there. So in the US, what happened in 1996 is the US WHO filed a case against US milk industry that you are selling what is called as pure pus. And the answer from the milk industry of US was that no matter our milk contains how much pus, we are pasteurizing that milk from 0 degree, first heating the milk to at 100 degree and then cooling the milk to 0 degree. So we were pasteurizing the milk. So what happens is it does not matter that this pus discharge is there because we are heating and then cooling, so it will not infect the humans. And in the US, there are 3 types of milk: the grade A, grade B, grade C. Grade A is the costliest milk, which contains which is the most costly milk, and which should contain the least pus. And in the A grade milk of US, one glass of milk one drop of pus is there, means by the US law, grade A milk is allowed to have over a drop of pus per 8-ounce glass of milk. My God, that is roughly 135 million pus cells per glass. So the A class milk of US has got 135 million pus cells in one glass, but as in India will be having most of the times class C milk, and you can imagine how much pus will be there in your drink, what you will be taking, right? So the milk myth is that people think there is high level of calcium which never goes into the body. It never gets absorbed into the bones. There's high level of anabolic material into the milk, which causes sugar levels like IGF there very high in the milk, which causes the sugars to go up. And there is emergence of Jersey cows, A2 beta casein is there, which is confusing and causing the type 1. Now the thing is, there is one more concept which troubles people, that some people say India has got A2 cows which are very good and which are like from the gods, and they are actually very good for us. Yes, I may agree, because their milk may be better than A1, but let's study into this, how these studies were published that A2 milk is good. Actually, in New Zealand, there is a company which started the breeding of desi cows and developed the A2 milk, and it published some studies that the term A2 milk was first coined in New Zealand. There is a company called the A2 Milk Company which produces A2 milk with the use selectively bred desi cows. Now what happens? They published a study that effect of milk that containing only A2 beta caseins versus milk containing both A1 and A2 beta casein proteins on gastrointestinal physiology, symptoms of discomfort and cognitive behavior of people with self-reported intolerance to traditional cow's milk. And the result of this study was that the consumption of milk containing A1 beta casein was associated with increased gastrointestinal inflammation and decline in cognition. And no above adverse effects were found in people consuming A2 milk. So इन्होंने क्या किया, इन्होंने prove कर दिया कि A2 milk is very good. There are no bad effects of A2 milk. And if we look deep into this study, actually, in the last of the study, this line is written that this study was actually funded by A2 Milk Company. Can you imagine? It's a fraud. So they have mislabeled studies, misinformed studies, which are misguiding us. Always, whenever you see an international study, always go into the end of the study and see who has funded the study. If it is the company who wants its product to be promoted has funded the study, never believe that study. Same way, one more study was published that where they told that beta casein and lactose of A2 milk is very good for the people. But again, this study was again published by the A2 Milk Company. So what happens is, in India, people think that that cow's milk and the buffalo's milk, like desi cow's milk, is very good for us. And because Lord Krishna, the relationship is with the Lord Krishna, that he told that milk should be taken, and we believe in that. Yes, I am also a spiritual follower of Lord Krishna, and I think he was the most wisest person which ever existed on this planet. So what happened actually, what Krishna thought is something we have to understand. Krishna's wisdom. Remember, at the time of Mahabharata, when there was Dwapar Yuga, it was the hetero era. Hetero era means there was no electricity, there was no means of wheels or communications were not there, and electricity was not there, motor vehicles were not there. So people had to walk very much. They have to walk hundreds of kilometers in the sunshine, and they had to do a hard work, so much so that they needed a lot of energy at that time. And because of the need of that energy, people used to take non-veg by killing animals and fishes. So what Krishna thought, he told that you need a lot of energy, a very high power energy, and rather than killing animals, what you do, these are cows and buffaloes. They are like God. They are like strong animals. They can bear hundred of kgs of weight on them, and they can withstand high temperatures of the sunlight. What you do, you start drinking the milk of these animals. But Krishna inside knew that these people will misbehave with the cows and make wrong use of them. So what he labeled the cow as being a mother. He told that this cow is a mother, she should be worshipped, and the calf should be first allowed to drink mother's milk and cow's milk, and whatever small milk which is remained, you take that milk after worshipping the cow. So, but contrary to that, what happened in 1910 and 20s, people came out with the dairy industry. They came out it as a business, and they started raping the cows by repeatedly pregnant. They will make them pregnant by artificial insemination, and the calves will not be allowed to drink the milk. Plus, these cows will deliver only 3 to 4 kilos of milk. So this milk is not sufficient for us. So what they will do, they will inject the cows with oxytocin injections. So they produce 40 liters of milk. And once the cow is pregnant and delivers a baby, after 2 months, again, they will pregnant the cow. So which is wrong practice. This is not worshipping the mother. So this is killing spirit. It is not about A2 milk or A1 milk. It is about the plus. We people, if we the milk has got a lot of calcium, a lot of calcium, and a lot of like calories. If you want to digest that calcium and the calories, you should go out into the sun and do hard work for 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. But we don't do that. So we live in our AC rooms and just sitting, doing small works, and go out for some small workouts. Means if you take 1 liter of milk, you should go into the sun for at least 6 hours, because you need a lot of vitamin D so that calcium of the milk goes into your bones. Otherwise, that will not go into your bones. That will keep revolving in your body and causing calcification of stones and heart attacks and strokes. So what happens? Krishna's wisdom is, it was the hetero era. There were no electrical resources. To save the animal killing, he labeled cow as Gaumata. Cow was worshipped. First calf will drink, and remaining people will take. And they had a lot of sun exposure and a lot of hard work, because of which they were able to digest the milk. But now it is the end of that hetero era. We live in our AC rooms and we don't need milk. So milk should be avoided 100% these days, right? Things have changed, but Krishna can never be wrong. Both A2 milk and A1 milk are not good for us, because I am seeing it in my practice that even the people who are taking A2 milk, their sugar levels are going very, very, very high. So if you are a diabetic, please don't take milk. To cure diabetes or to control your sugar levels, first thing which has to be done is stop taking any milk product like cow's milk, curd, lassi, chach, ghee, butter, milk, coffee, milk tea, all things have to be stopped. Black tea and black coffee are allowed. Now let us discuss again about an animal non-veg food. Non-veg food is what is, I say animal, which contains a lot of animal fat. Now what is the difference between animal fat and the plant fat? See, this is the unsaturated fat. This is the unsaturated fat, right? So unsaturated fat is the plant fat. It has got a complex structure like this. This is the saturated fat. And trans fat, these are animal fat. They have a simple structure like this. So you can symbolically represent this as, this is the plant fat and this is the animal fat, right? What happens? Suppose you are taking a lot of plant fat. So what will be happening in your blood vessels is this blood is containing a lot of plant fat. And if you're taking a lot of non-veg like meat, egg, fish, you have got a lot of animal fat, which is a saturated fat like this. So what do you think out of these two, which will have a tendency to deposit into the arteries? Here there can be no deposition because these are complex structure which cannot fit one above other. So there is no deposition here, but this is animal fat and it will deposit here. It will deposit here, right? So what is happening is ये यहाँ पे deposit होता जा रहा है, ठीक है? आप देख रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे ये deposit हो रहा है. So चांसेस ज्यादा यहाँ पे हैं कि आपको कोलेस्ट्रॉल के प्लाक्स बन जाएं और आपको स्ट्रोक होने का, हार्ट अटैक होने का खतरा ज्यादा बढ़ जाए, ठीक है ना? तो ये आपको समझना है यहाँ पे. आई ऑल्सो वॉन्ट टू यूज सम हिंदी बिकॉज सम ऑफ इंडियंस must be watching and it is important for them to listen to understand this. So if you're taking, अगर आप एनिमल फैट खा रहे हैं तो ज्यादा चांसेस है कि आपको हार्ट अटैक, स्ट्रोक होगा, बट यहाँ पे कोलेस्ट्रॉल नहीं जम सकता क्योंकि यहाँ पे आप प्लांट फैट खा रहे हैं. If you're taking a lot of plant fat, your cells, membranes which are made up of fat will have this plant fat like this. And if you're taking a lot of नॉन-वेज लाइक अंडा, मांस, मच्छी खा रहे हैं तो आपका जो सेल मेम्ब्रेन है वो ऐसे बना हुआ है, उसके ऊपर जगह जगह पे ये एनिमल फैट जम गया है. अब आपको क्या लगता है कि इंसुलिन ने अगर बॉडी के अंदर जाके आपका खाया हुआ जो खाना है उसको अगर अंदर लेके जाना है तो कहाँ से इजी है ज्यादा जाना? कैन यू टेल मी हाउ इंसुलिन कैन टेक दिस फूड हियर इजिली और हियर इजिली? It is easy for the insulin to take the food inside the cell if you are taking a lot of plant fat like insulin, because there is a way to go inside. Here there is all blocked. Insulin cannot go inside. So what happens is, if you're taking a lot of animal fat, this is what is called as insulin resistance. Here there is less resistance. Why? Because insulin can easily go inside. So this is the concept of insulin resistance. If you're taking a lot of animal fat, you will develop insulin resistance. National Institute of Health, they have given one study, dietary fat and prevention of type 2 diabetes. Consuming the fat from the plant-based food in its natural state can help in decreasing the risk of diabetes. The fat from animal food or industrial fat, such as various kinds of refined oil, can be and result in increasing the risk of diabetes. So if you are taking the fat from the plant-based foods in its natural state, it will decrease your sugar level. But if you take fat from animal food, your sugar levels will rise. This is not me saying, the National Institute of Health, which is a governing body all over the world. These are so many trials, landmark trials on comparison of animal and plant fats and the risk of diabetes. So many trials are there. They have proved that plant fat is good to eat, but that only in the natural state. I'm not promoting any vegetable oils. Okay, I'm just saying like natural plants which contain oils, like maybe in cashews, almonds, in little quantities, they decrease the sugar levels. So plant protein, if you're taking animal food like non-veg, you are also taking animal protein. And if you're taking a lot of soya and lentils, pulses, you're taking a lot of plant protein. So what is the difference of these two protein sources? Research results from Women's Health Study as published in Diabetes Care Journal and results from the European Prospective Investigation into the Cancer and Nutrition, the EPIC study proves that among the subjects with the higher consumption of animal protein were also at increased risk of diabetes type 2. So who are taking a lot of non-veg, they develop more type 2 diabetes. Dietary protein intake and the incidence of type 2 diabetes in the Europe, the EPIC study, it proved that if you're taking high total and animal protein intake was associated with a modest elevated risk of type 2 diabetes in a large cohort of European studies. So this EPIC study also proved that if you're taking a lot of non-veg protein, you will develop a lot of, your sugar levels will be very high and you will develop diabetes. There are hundreds of studies which have told that if you're taking a lot of animal protein, अगर आप अंडा, मांस, मच्छी खा रहे हैं तो आपको डायबिटीज हो जाएगी. ये सारी स्टडीज, इंटरनेशनल स्टडीज हैं जिन्होंने प्रूव किया. इनके सबको आप बाद में you can check them from the internet. All these above studies indicate that if the protein is consumed from a plant source, that too in its natural state, then it helps in insulin sensitivity and reduces the risk of diabetes. A meta-analysis as published now, many people think that fish oil is very good for diabetes, but what diabetes, the biggest journal of the diabetes in the world is the Diabetes Care Journal, and it says that the daily intake of fish oil has no protective effect on hyperglycemia in type 2 diabetes as previously assumed. Means if you're taking a lot of fish or fish oils, your sugar levels are not going to be down. Rather, fish contains what is there, the fish in the sea and the ponds, like it contains a lot of carcinogenic minerals like arsenic and mercury. This arsenic and mercury are very high in concentration in this fish. So what happens if you take these fishes, eat these fishes or fish oil, these harmful chemicals gets built into your body and you develop a lot of cancers. So it is not good to eat fish, because again, as per Trajan food consciousness, when you kill the fish, you are eating a hetero food with killing spirit. This is not going to give you any health. Now about preserved food, the preserved food always has preservatives. The spirit to keep as such, the profit spirit. So all those packed materials like biscuit, namkeen, like some of kind of packed foods like chips or some biscuits, all those contain a lot of chemicals. These preservatives are chemicals and they are all very dangerous. So we should try to avoid them maximum whenever it is possible. So all vegetables oils are, see, if you are this, all these oils are never made in the nature naturally. They are all made by industries. So these all are vegetable oils are also unhealthy. These are not plant-based. This is a business, and never in nature never made them. Processed by companies for profit. No oil grows in the nature. But if you see in an almond, this is the almond which contains oil. But if you see carefully, there is a small oil inside the almond. All the things other is a lot of fiber. You know, this fiber contains a lot of enzymes. And if your cholesterol level is high, this fiber will not allow this oil to go into the body, but it will take this oil into the body only if your cholesterol level is low. If your cholesterol level is high, this fiber will take all the oil down from your excreta out of the body. So this is DIP, natural. If you are eating a lot of almonds, then that is good. But if you take oil out of this almond, what you make is called as badam rogan. Out of 10,000 maybe 1 lakh almonds, this much of oil will come out. And if you take this oil of almond, it is not good. It is not going to give you health. This is like VIP food, which will increase your cholesterol level. So eat almonds, it's good. Don't eat it. Don't take this oils. So there is no river or well of oil created by the nature. There is no river of all this is profit-based business. There is no oil anywhere in the nature except for petrol and diesel. So studies have proved that nut consumption is actually good for the health and diabetes. But if you're taking nuts in the natural state, this is good for the health. Nut consumption also has decreased. If you're eating nuts, then your risk of dying with heart attack is very low, because all the nuts contain a lot of magnesium. And you know what is the best medicine when somebody is going to die within 5 minutes of heart attack? It is the injection of magnesium. So if you're taking nuts, maybe 5, 10 or 15 per day, you will not die of heart attacks, right? So it is good to take some natural nuts in the form of animal plant fat, right? So about type 1 diabetes and LADA, that is latent autoimmune diabetes of adults. This is immunogenic diabetes, how to develop LADA in type 1. If you take a non-veg piece, this contains muscles, this contains blood vessels, it contains bones and joints. So this leg piece of chicken has got some resemblance to human body in the form of muscles, joints, blood vessels. So what happens is your body, when digest this leg piece daily, someday it gets confused that it starts thinking that the human body, which has got muscles, are also a meat. The joints in the human body are also this leg piece. The bones in the body are also this leg piece. The blood vessels in the body are also this leg piece. So body starts digesting our own. Our body starts digesting our own muscles and our own bones, joints, contrary to this, called as these are the plant-based sources of the protein. The sprouts, these are the total foreign party. Here there is no resemblance. इनका कोई resemblance नहीं है human body का से, क्योंकि ये foreign party है, इनका कोई भी resemblance नहीं है. तो क्या होगा कि ये बिल्कुल भी कंफ्यूज नहीं होंगे अगर आप ये ले रहे हैं कि स्प्राउट्स ले रहे हैं, तो बिल्कुल भी कंफ्यूजन पैदा नहीं होगा. बॉडी इनको तो डाइजेस्ट करेगी, लेकिन यहाँ पे अगर बॉडी हर रोज लेग पीस खाएंगे या नॉनवेज खाएंगे तो बॉडी धीरे धीरे कंफ्यूज हो जाएगी और अपनी ही बॉडी पार्ट को डिस्ट्रॉय करना शुरू करेगी. इसी तरह से कैसे इम्यूनोजेनिक डायबिटीज, जैसे कि मिल्क में मैंने बताया, आपको डेवलप होती है. तो हमें नॉनवेज अवॉइड करना चाहिए. वी शुड ट्राई टू अवॉइड नॉनवेज. Autoimmune diabetes is the confusion of the immune system. If you stop non-veg, the immune system will not be confused. It will work automatically. So, say no to animal foods and dairy products. Immune system must make antibodies to all substances which enters the body. It gets confused with animal foods and the dairy products. Like antibody develops against cow's milk, destroys beta cells of pancreas. Results in a big spectrum of autoimmune type of diabetes.